Hello, hello, hello. Assalamu alaikum. Jianu pakhaira galeni hama chune shume washmaleo hi gonzames guten morgen. Hi, hugs and hellos to everybody who's tuned into PT World and watching World this morning alongside Shazad Khan and Maha Maktoum. Hello Maha, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Shazad. I'm very well. Good morning, everyone. I'm very good today, Shazad. What are we discussing today, Shazad?
Okay, before we move on to what we want to discuss, I think let's just get done with the things we were supposed to do in the first place. So, since we have been mentioning that we have changed the pattern of the show, so the first thing to do is discuss about one of those food item or fruits which can be beneficial for health. And then Maha will follow with a public service message as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's very relevant to the topic we're discussing today. We're discussing mental health. So, the food we have picked up on is walnut. And walnut is said to be, the best food for brain because of the fact that it has got a concentration of DHA, which is actually omega-3 fatty acids, which I do not know what it is, but it is said to, that, probably, you won't age, your brain basically won't age the way, for example, if you're 65 and you keep on eating walnuts. And it is said that just because of the shape of the walnut resembles the shape of the brain, that's why it's good for brain as well. And majority of the foods which have got a resemblance with one of the body organs are actually helpful for all those body organs as well. So ladies and gentlemen, it's not too late. Start eating walnuts. That's what we're doing today.
Wonderful. And in regards to having a healthy mind, you need to have a healthy body.
Yes.
And so today's message is that you should, now everyone knows this concept of 10,000 steps. I know most of you guys have that application on your phone. Actually, it originated from Japan in 1965. It is the equivalent to 5 miles a day extra. And the whole point is to get people excited about walking and to make it an easier task to achieve. And the benefits of walking daily, the 10,000 steps, is that it will reduce the risk of obesity, lower cholesterol, lower blood pressure. It will also help with your bone density. It will help with muscular endurance, and it's also for strength and flexibility, heart attack, preventative from heart attack and stroke, etc. And the benefits go on and on. So guys, try and get your 10,000 steps a day or the equivalent to that.
Because it's basically cardio exercise as well, and we need to do that because a lot of times over here in Pakistan, people are not habitual of going out, walking, exercising, or going to the gym. May it be anything, just exercise. And this is a public service message from the platform of PTV World.
Exactly. And another thing about walking, just before we move on, is that if people start walking, more females and families get out there, it will become part of the culture in the society. Because my mother used to tell me, back when she was younger, they used to go for walks with her cousins and it used to be safe and there was no problems from, boys on motorbikes and cars. So that kind of, I think that stigma will also
And I think we're lucky enough in cities like Islamabad, Lahore, Multan, Peshawar, Karachi, we have got so many parks out there. It's just that we do not go out or we do not want to walk. So start exercising, look fit, look good, and avoid all of those diseases which can be very fatal for you.
Exactly. Now, moving on from that, which is a beautiful link, thank you, Shazad, is that you have a healthy body, but you also have to have a healthy mind. Yes. And this is one thing that we have been working tirelessly for the last 3 years, is to get rid of the stigma attached with mental health issues, or being depressed, or having to go to therapy, etc. So
or personality disorders.
Exactly.
I mean, there's so many things within the society which we need to highlight, and I think we have been very ignorant of the fact that mental health is very essential for you being healthy.
Exactly.
I mean, all of those people who think that, if you look good or, each and every organ's working, okay, that's very evident to you. But, what's going on in here? Let's talk about all of those chemical imbalances which can be there and they can get unnoticed, and you would never even know why you're sad, why you're moody, why your mood swings are coming in. It's just because of the fact that we do not put enough focus on mental health.
Exactly. And a lot of it's like, oh, this is life, or, just kind of suck it up and get on with it. But that's not the way to deal with issues. If you have a cut, you would treat it with, antiseptic and you put a bandage on it. That's what if you have issues within your life, that's what it's about. But we're going to stop talking now. We're going to introduce your guest.
But one last thing which I wanted to say over here is that people from within the society have taken initiative to raise awareness about that. And, we're lucky enough that we have been joined by such a person over here. She's in the studio and she is...
She is Amna Khan. She is a humanistic counselor and a life coach. And she's also done a little bit of psychotherapy, but we're going to touch upon everything. Assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us.
And we're very sorry for such long introduction.
I know, but there's so much to talk about. But this is going to be a very interactive show. And as we really like this topic. And as Shazad said, that people are working on raising awareness. But you've also it's not that you're based in Pakistan, you're actually based abroad, but you realize the work that needs to be done in Pakistan.
That's right.
So, with the first basic question, let's start with, to you, what is mental health?
Well, mental health is obviously the, the emotional well-being of a person.
Okay.
And it's, as you said earlier, you mentioned that earlier, it's very important for, for a healthy body. We do not give it that much importance.
Yeah.
It helps us, be able to contribute to society, just get on with our normal day-to-day lives. And we don't realize how important it is. It's not just the physical health, but mentally we are not, because people don't give it that much importance, as you were saying as well earlier.
No, but what is mental health? Let's talk about it first so that people will
emotional
get to know,
well-being.
very basic information that, what is it?
So the emotional well-being is obviously very important for a human being, I feel. And it's how basically we think, how we act, and how we feel. That is comprises our mental health. How we are able to cope with the day-to-day stresses of life, how we relate to people, how we get on with our daily tasks, even simple things. It's just about, being in tune with your mind and your body, healthy mind, body, psychological, social, emotional. That all goes together.
And at this
Wonderful.
point of time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud to say that we've got somebody who's going to expand more on this issue, more on this topic, more about awareness after a short break. Don't go anywhere. Good morning.
Welcome back, everyone. And before the break, we were discussing about mental health stigma in Pakistan, and why are we still at that point where you say you're depressed and it's going to be labeled with you for the rest of your life. So, that's just one example. There are lots of others. But
And I think, Maha, there's one more thing which I've been thinking about, and that is that, for every problem in your life, in the first place, what you need to do is that you need to accept it. I mean, a lot of people over here are not even ready to accept that they might be going through a mental trauma, or, there might be something, those chemical imbalances might be there. And they do not want to agree to this just because of the fact that people have been telling them that, all your actions, they tell me that, you might have a bit of disturbance. No, I'm right, I'm fine.
okay, but that's the thing. We're going to talk about why is that attitude there as well, because that's also linked with the cultural and the social stigma attached to it. So, anyway, let me introduce you our guest, because there's so much to talk about today, but we have been joined by Dr. Mubashir Malik. He is our psychiatrist. Assalamu alaikum. You're wearing a psychiatrist hat today.
And a mentor to a million
Yes.
people, and, I mean,
He's done a lot.
Words cannot express or define what he's done or achieved in all of this for all of us as well.
Exactly, but we have a lot to talk about. So we're going to get your definition of emotional well-being in Pakistan.
I think emotional well-being is a very restricted term. WHO changed the definition of health.
Yeah.
It was previously
Physical,
mental,
mental, and
social,
spiritual.
and spiritual well-being. So mental health has been taken as a psychiatrist, as a psychiatry. Psychiatry is a very small branch of mental health. Mental health has a much wider scope.
Right.
And the theme of your discussion today is, first of all, we must make policies and programs to promote positive mental health. Then we must take steps to protect mental health.
Right.
Then comes the prevention of mental illness.
Okay.
And after that, the mental illness, their detection, their treatment, and their rehabilitation into society.
Okay.
And I want to tell you that according to United Nations, they have coined a currency for burden of disease.
Right.
Mental and behavioral problems
Right.
constitute 42% of the global burden of disease.
Right.
And in year 2020, maybe Madam Amna Khan knows, that depression will become the second largest killer
Okay.
after coronary heart disease. Only 3 years
Okay, so this is really shocking figures. I mean, you know, this is a global issue, but the thing is, I want to focus more on Pakistan because, you know, we're living here, and, you know, compared to other developed countries, we are really behind on our knowledge and acceptance of mental health issues. Like you said, it goes beyond psychiatry and psychology. But now, focusing on, you know, the more traditional aspect of mental health, for example, dealing with your day-to-day life within Pakistan. We need to know the benefits of having a healthy mind and healthy, you know, spirituality, all these things. But in Pakistan, we are lacking, or we're falling behind. Why are we falling behind? Why is this ignorance still here? Why do we, in 2016, still have to have these workshops to say we should be caring about these things?
Well, I believe that one of the biggest things is, I think, the social and cultural expectations in our society. I think, you know, the way we are brought up, obviously that contributes a lot to how we are as when we are, you know, as we grow up.
Daily.
And you know, our patterns, our behavior is obviously greatly influenced by all of that, and there's a huge social stigma attached to it. You know, nobody really takes it seriously. The cultural expectations to try and fit into a certain mold, be a certain way, you know, live a certain kind of life. Those sort of things just prevent you from being the person who you are, and who, you know, and I'm not talking about the serious issues here, the, you know, which come from chemical imbalances or other sort of, you know, history of
general
family history or trauma, abuse, life experiences. All those things contribute to mental health.
Okay, but let me ask Dr. Mubashir, I want to ask you, because, you know, you've been dealing with psychiatry and mental health issues, you know, since your return in '73. Now, in Pakistan, why are we still so obsessed with a certain image and a certain, you know, perfect image that we need to project to everyone else, despite having these struggles? For example, you know, recently we've seen some Pakistani people air their you know, their family problems in public.
Exactly.
Some people are saying, oh, keep it to yourself. Some people are saying it's good to talk about it. What should we be doing? Where are we?
I think probably Madam Amna has come from England. A lot has happened and a lot is happening. National Program of Mental Health was formed in 1986.
Right.
And it was implemented. Mental health, in fact, is too important to be left to psychiatrists alone. Like they say, war is too important to be left to soldiers. Mental health should be everybody's concern.
Right.
So my slogan is mental health for all for mental health.
Right.
So now there is a very clear program and plan which has been finalized in the Planning Commission only 6 months ago to implement it in the real sense. Secondly, until 2001, the law governing the mentally ill was known as Lunacy Act 1912.
All right.
That has been transformed.
Okay.
And in 2001, a modern, latest, up to the mark, mental health authorities has been made after devolution.
Okay.
It went to provinces.
Right.
Sindh has done it. Punjab has done it. So very positive things are happening.
No, but what are the
okay.
outcomes of all of these
Yeah, on the
policies and
social
all of
aspect.
these departments? You know, what is happening on the grassroots level?
Now there are psychiatrists in every teaching hospital, training centers. We must have produced more than 1,000 psychiatrists, and they are spreading all over.
Okay.
And the program is now to take them to district hospital.
Wonderful.
But the question here, we are not talking about psychiatry, we are talking about mental health.
Yeah.
Mental health should be introduced in school health services.
Right.
And there is a very big program coming up with the support of NIMH, National Institute of Mental Health, and Mr. Atif, Dr. Professor Atif Rahman, who is one of my students. He's spearheading it.
Right.
And only last month there was a huge, so we are spreading it in the rural areas.
Okay, and that's great, but that's, you know, that's on the legislative level, that's on the policy making level, that's there. But on the social level though, at the end of the day, you can have as many psychiatrists as you want. If your average regular citizen has the stigma attached because of the social issues, then we can create as
That,
many
yeah, I'm
workshops.
fine. You know, there's no problem with me.
Media has a
Yeah.
role to play.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think everybody, as I said, all for mental health.
Okay.
The media has to play its role. The education sector has to play its role. The social welfare has to play its role. Public education,
Right.
public mental health, they are very, very important.
Okay, but you have got an experience of more than 3-4 decades now. And
Nearly 5 decades.
mashallah. And now what I want to ask is that, you know, you might have seen people being in a denial. How did you convince them then? You know, back in 1970, if somebody will tell you that, you know, oh, you probably go need to see a psychiatrist or you're crazy, they'll probably just get mad more, man. You know, that's how it is.
I think faith healers are playing,
Life coaches.
Yes, and
Life
they are
coaches.
misleading people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have been possessed by jinn. There are taweez on you.
Yeah.
And I think it is high time. I've seen patients, Maha, in which holes have been made in the head.
Yeah.
And I've seen pus and maggots coming out of it.
God, please. It's
because
early
they were
morning. Yeah. But,
Yeah.
So, but I
okay,
would love to share
wait.
an experience over here.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, you know, since we are talking about the stigma and the taboos.
Right.
Okay, now I mean, one of my brother-in-law is a psychiatrist too. I hope his mom's not watching. So he figured it out that, you know, there's something wrong, you know, the chemical
He's a student of
imbalances.
RMC.
What?
He was a
Yeah,
student
he
of
was a
RMC.
student at RMC and now he's practicing in England too. Now, they've been living abroad for so long, he figured it out that his mother's got a problem. He didn't really tell her just because of the fact that he knew that she won't take that medicine then. So he actually said, oh, these are, you know, some, what do we take in the morning? Vitamins and, you know, something for power and stuff like that sort. Yeah, and that's how she started taking it.
And said, dum karai.
Dumb, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, imagine, so we're still in that state.
Okay, well, this is what I want to ask, that, you know, even you have educated people who have traveled the world, they, you know, they have access to everything, TV, media, all these things. Even then, there is that stigma. You know, let's put the rural community aside. You know, they go to.
It's very important.
It is absolutely is.
That's what
But,
it is
and we will.
earlier.
We're going to be leading to that. But I want to start from this aspect that you have educated people who travel the world, yet they have this apprehension to go to a psychiatrist, to go to a, you know, someone to help them with their day-to-day, you know.
And adding
health.
on to that, even if somebody is going to see a psychiatrist, you know, once they come back, they're not even telling you that, you know, that's what they did. It's all right with us. But then, you know, how do you think that, you know, these workshops will help people to
Break
be
down
aware
that-
of all of these things?
So I think I believe that it's a lot to do with the conditioning of the mind, how people are conditioned to think as well. Obviously, and they just feel safer just doing what they're used to doing or knowing what they're used to for years and years. It becomes sort of a pattern. And any workshop, anything we speak about, is obviously a way of educating people and telling them that, you know, there is nothing wrong in, you know, accepting the fact that you need help. It requires a lot of courage to actually accept that there is something perhaps, you know, missing in my life, or something's not wrong, you know, something's wrong, or if not myself, it's people around me, a family
Yeah, I've
member
heard
or
this
a
statement
relative.
quite a lot. People saying, oh, I do not feel life in me, you know, I feel empty. That means that, you know, the person is mentally ill?
That's all right.
Okay.
What is more worrying is that our society is not psychologized.
Yeah.
And when they get depressed or anxious or they have problems, they present with gas and gola formation, pains
very
and
true.
aches.
Sorry. Yeah.
And the physicians are doing their investigations, doing their testing, giving them vitamins, as you said. Mental illness, that's why I say we have to sensitize the community, the policymakers, the doctors themselves.
Yeah.
I think physicians and surgeons. A patient came once to me, and she was depressed. She said, I have a snake inside my stomach.
Okay.
And of course, I did whatever I could. But later on, she came 5 years after to see me. And she had gone to a surgeon.
Oh, gosh.
And he had operated her. And when he took out
That's the
something that this is the snake,
Yeah.
she said, yes, doctor, thank you very much for taking it out. But what about thousands and thousands of eggs it has laid inside me?
Oh gosh.
But she could have responded very well to drugs or
Therapy.
psychotherapy. So I think, Amna, you are doing wonderful job.
Yeah, no, I think that I was about to say to you
So
that
important.
I think the snake was probably more in her mind. It
Yes,
wasn't in her
that's it,
stomach.
that's it.
Yeah, it's always
But this is the thing.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you talked about, psychologizing the society. It's really important. Now, this is the thing. You have someone who's gone to a psychiatrist, with the symptoms. You've checked. There's no physical ailment. However, they still refuse. I mean, even if you're in the rural areas.
It is very real to him, the patient.
Yes.
Of course, it's real to them,
real.
but as the medical expert, as that surgeon's responsibility was, ethically, morally, was to say that, no, there's nothing wrong with you, you need this kind of help.
Yeah.
Now, when the surgeons aren't even telling their patients that actually this is more a psychological issue, when there's no camaraderie or support within the medical profession, what hope do the patients or the clients have? I'll start with you, Amna.
And then even at the same time, we have seen immoral practices by those doctors as well. I mean, for example, if somebody accepted that, okay, there might be something wrong with me, and they went to the doctor, and if there wasn't, they might still give him some type of medication.
Yeah.
Just because the fact that he's generating business.
Yes.
So how to get rid of this?
Well, I believe that-
Second opinion.
second opinion, yes. I believe that medicines don't work every time. As Dr.
Prayers do too.
Mubashir very clearly said, this lady came to him and about the snake thing, it was all in her mind. There was some paranoia, some fear, something there which was holding her back. And sometimes psychiatrists, because I'm not a medically trained doctor, I mean, Dr. Mubashir is, and so he would probably then do is then refer to people like me, who would then work with their emotions, work with their feelings, work with what's going on for them, and trying to sort of find out answers, uncover the real meanings, and then try and help them, support them.
I
Because
think
that
she's very
means-
right.
Yeah.
Mental psychiatry is not only by psychiatrists. I think the family members, the clinical psychologists, the social worker, it's a multi-sectoral team, multidisciplinary team. But public awareness is something that media should do.
Absolutely. And I just
Why
wanna
don't you do a 6-7 series of program?
Would
Yeah,
love
I
to.
mean,
I
think it's the 10th one we've done it together, though.
No.
basically
In a
solely.
systematic way.
Okay, we'll
we need
discuss
to
that
do
later. We'll discuss the shows later, but because I want to talk on the topic, but we have to go for a break. So let's go for a short break, and when you come back, I'm going to ask our two guests a very pertinent question.
And you
Stay
can catch
tuned.
your breath meanwhile. Good morning. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You guys are tuning to PT World, watching World This Morning at this very time, which is Azad Khan and Muhammad Doom. And today, we're creating awareness about mental health.
Yes, and as we've discussed, we've talked about the definition. We're talking now about the situation in Pakistan. Dr. Mubashir, before the break, you mentioned about it's not just the psychiatrist and psychologist responsibility. It's the media, it's the social workers, etc. Now, in Pakistan, what is the role of a social worker, and do they exist? I mean, I know they exist, but
no, I mean, we get to see people every other day, or we're doing this and this.
I mean,
this
official
and that.
government employed social workers, because obviously in different countries they have different roles.
I think social work is extremely important.
Okay.
To prevent the etiology and causation of mental illness,
Okay.
then support during their treatment, and finally, rehabilitation to society and involving them. I think we need everybody. You have not mentioned school teachers.
Okay.
School teachers have a lot of role to play. Educating people about the basic principles of well-being,
Okay.
and all sectors of society have to participate.
But sir, one more thing. Who do you think will actually, put this into parents' head as well? Because, teachers can tell the students that this is what you're supposed to do. But then all of those parents who are out there, they're not getting tamed. They're not being led by anybody else as well. All they're doing is what they think is right.
And also, if a school was to bring in a therapist or a counselor, like a lot of schools
Not
have.
counselor, very basic education.
Okay.
If you can start in schools, I started in 1986
Right.
in the rural areas. It was very successful.
I'm so happy to say I wasn't even born then.
I was. I'm very happy to say I was. Wisdom comes with age. So the older I get, the happier I am. But anyway, that's my
That's why I
next
got
question.
taller earlier.
So that's my next question. Okay, it's very important for the schools to have that education, but that would involve, a curriculum update, etc., and incorporating into that. But another step, as you mentioned, that what I mentioned was the counselor aspect, or a school coach or a life coach. Now, schools could introduce that, but I've spoken to teachers as well. They're like, we want to do that for we see some kids that may have some issues, or it would help them to speak to people. But if they brought in a counselor or someone to a life coach, the parents are then having an issue with it. So how do we, even if the schools are educating the children, the parents then need to be educated too.
Because they're not educated yet.
So how do we break that stigma?
Well, again,
I think these workshops will help.
The workshops will help, yes, and programs like this. This is, of course, things like
Thank
this,
you.
reaching out. No, it's wonderful actually, because it's very important. It's a way of reaching out to people, because again, people have a mental block. They don't understand. I think they also struggle with. I feel over here in society, confidentiality is a big problem. Parents might think, the kids might go to school and talk to somebody about personal stuff which is going on at home. People are there's issue of trust there. Also, they probably feel, everything's fine. They don't need to be. Whereas even children suffer from, anxiety, stress. There could be things happening at home.
And this is what I wanted to talk about too. And that is that, half of the time what we do is that we do not realize what the core issue is. Now, by 2020, we are saying that, depression is going to be on number 2 as a killer. What are the things which are affecting us? Is it, our cell phones? Is it social media? Is it us who wants to be rich or bling bling, or, what's going on? I mean, what is affecting us? As a doctor, as a psychiatrist, what would you see as all of those things which are impacting our mental health?
I think it's a very important theme.
Thank you.
Because we have left psychiatry to psychiatrists and psychologists.
Yeah.
It should be everybody's business. Unless it's become a total community level, the school teachers, the social workers, the clinical psychologists, the community workers, the doctors, media, everybody has to play a role.
No, but Dr. Saab, what are the most common issues of mental health these days? I mean, let's talk about
The causation.
Yeah.
Causation is multifactorial, like multi-sectoral treatment. I mean, there are genetic factors sometimes. There are psychological factors. Sometimes, as a result of chronic stress, it actually creates changes in the brain.
Yeah.
There is disturbance of brain biochemistry. So that is why it's a multi-etiology presentation of mental illness. So multi-sectoral approach.
Okay.
Not the only psychologists or psychiatrists can do anything.
Okay, and this is
It should
very-
be everybody's concern.
Absolutely.
I
and-
agree with you because and life experiences, I would like to add, also play a huge part as well.
And I'm really glad you mentioned the fact that, you know, an ongoing of stresses, anxiety, and all these psychological issues can have an actual physical change in the layout of your brain and the way you, you know, deal with things. Now, you know, this is a really big issue. So now going forward, we know it's everyone's responsibility, but for all the, you know, we have mothers watching, we have fathers watching, we have students watching. You know, even from, like, I'm going to give my own example because I think we are in the media and we should use this platform. I mean, I know that I have cut down since I first moved to Pakistan discussing the psychological or certain issues that were bugging me. So if I used to get a bit upset or if I got extremely happy, I used to express it. But now I actually personally have cut down because of the reactions of people. After 3 years, I think I got a bit tired of constantly. So once, you know, I'll give my example. I said I'm sad or this is stressing me out. Now, for the last 6 months, I've been trying to, you know, every time I see these people, oh, Maha, are you okay? Oh, you know, this, oh no.
okay.
Like, you know, so this is the attitude as well that we're facing. How do we deal with it? Even people who are relaxed in talking about life or psychological problems or non-psychological problems,
And
how do they deal with
it? And adding on to these experiences, so I write at times as well. So I've written quite a lot of things. Once it's like
It's a long
something very
question.
jolly, once it's something very sad. So if I share all of those sad words with somebody, you know, the first thing which comes out, oh, have you been through this? I mean, what's the point of it?
Yeah. No, if I could
Please,
please. It's, see, I believe that there is a happy part and a sad part of, you know, which exists in us. And I think we probably are not very aware. People are generally not aware of that, you know. And I think it's human to feel sadness. It's okay to feel sad.
normal.
It's normal. I mean, obviously, depression is a despondent kind of a sadness. That's a very dark place to be in. That's different. I don't sort of categorize it as literally as sadness.
Okay.
And then, as you said, that's where counseling comes in. You know, you go and you might say something to somebody, and you might get this reaction. Oh. You know, that's where counseling comes in because it's a non-judgmental environment. You know, you won't be judged, you'll get the empathy. And, you know, and it will be very confidential. You can, you know, you can speak what you want to speak about. And you'll be given coping skills as well. And, you know, you will try to understand what's really happening for you. I think that's very, very important for
And
people
it
to...
occurs in all ages.
Exactly.
You get them in infants. You get them in children, in schools, which are not recognized. The teacher starts beating them up,
Yeah.
which is terrible
But
instead of
research-
understanding. You get it in adults and you get it in the elderly. Different age groups have different afflictions.
Okay.
So it happens in everybody's life. To actually become anxious under stress is a normal reaction.
Okay.
It's a normal reaction to stress.
And not to stress at all. Not to worry about anything at all.
Well,
Do you
I
think
think
that's
that's
normal
a problem too,
I
no?
think that will be becoming a psychopathic.
I think so.
Excellent. And that's a wonderful note to end it on. But thank you so much for joining us. If there's any last words you would like to share, and I think Shazad has one more question as well.
Yeah, there's one more thing by the end, and that is that, you know, in near future, you know, are you trying to organize all of these workshops in all over Pakistan, or is it just Islamabad? Because then if it's just Islamabad, please don't just start it.
No, you see, this is my, I've had a workshop and, you know, it was about mental health,
Yeah.
creating awareness, breaking barriers, talking about stigmas, benefits of counseling. You know, so it is my sort of first step in this direction. I'm very inspired by Dr. Mubashir here, and he's sort of told us he's been in this field for years and years. So I think we all have to start somewhere.
So don't
and-
just stop.
No, I'm not going to stop. Islamabad is my hometown because I grew up here, so I've started from here. But I do want to carry on further and keep doing good work in this field.
I would like to end
Yes.
Yeah.
with Shakespeare
Please.
quotation.
So, sure, sir.
It says, pluck from the memory a rooted sorrow raise out the written troubles of the brain, and with some sweet, oblivious antidote, cleans the stuffed bosom of that perilous substance which weighs upon the heart.
Very nice. And with these,
Beautiful.
ladies and
Beautiful.
gentlemen,
Thank you so much.
I think we're done for today.
Yes.
Please do not forget to write to us on our Facebook fan page, which is with the name of
Well, this morning.
on Twitter,
Well, this morning without a G.
on the Daily Motion on YouTube,
Well, this morning.
and the repeat is going to be at
11:05 p.m. And then wherever you're watching it in the world, you need to do your time difference, and we will be online.
till the next time. 1, 2, 3.
Good morning.
Thank you very much, sir.